Let's bring it right now. Democratic Governor Tim Walz of Minnesota. He's out campaigning for the Biden-Harris campaign. Governor, thanks so much for being with us. When we look at the states that are going to make the difference in the race in the Electoral College, we look at Minnesota, we look at Wisconsin, we look at Michigan, we look at Pennsylvania. We just saw the president's doing well in Pennsylvania. He's holding his own in Wisconsin. What's the story in your home state?
Well, thanks for having me. Well, Joe Biden will win here in Minnesota. He's delivering on the issues that care about. He'll be out here tomorrow with Governor Evers from Wisconsin and the federal government putting $1 billion into the Blatnick Bridge, connecting the ports of Superior and Duluth. Those are the things that people care about, creating jobs. So you're exactly right, and I heard you speaking earlier on this. Donald Trump may run up the score in South Dakota, but he's losing Minnesota. He's going to lose Wisconsin. He's going to lose Michigan. He's going to lose Pennsylvania. And that blue wall will hold because he's doing the things necessary. And the alternative is chaos and retribution, as you saw last night. So we're excited. We're doing the work, staying in our lane, and excited to get the president reelected.
I love talking to governors because they know what's going on the ground of their states. I mean, if they're good governors like you, what is the issue that you hear about the most? What are voters most concerned about? Is it inflation? Is it personal home savings? Is it infrastructure? What's the issue that you're hearing right now on the ground?
Yeah, it's a combination of those things, Joe. You know, people care, and they're seeing prices. I was up in Duluth yesterday, saw gas for $2.49. You're starting to see those things moderate. Wages are up. We've got low unemployment. But look, with the Trump people out there and the Republicans rooting for failure, they will never say something's working. We talk about job growth. Oh, it's bad, or something like that. I think this general sense of they don't want the chaos and they want a positive vision for the future. And I think that's now as we pivot and we start to see this general election shape up to be the binary choice we've all been talking about do you want chaos, negativity, doom and gloom, American apocalypse, or do you truly want to say what Joe Biden said? This is the United States of America. There's nothing we can't do. And I think this idea of building the economy out, creating jobs, coming and announcing a bridge project, the largest one we've seen in the Northland in history, those are exciting things. And I think those are what people are talking about is they want to feel more secure both in their finances. They want to feel more secure in terms of how their politics is working. So I think that bodes well for the president.
Yeah, I agree on those fronts. Obviously, Republicans are going to talk about quality of life issues. They're going to talk about crime. They're going to talk about homelessness. They're going to talk about the southern border. Let's talk about crime and homelessness. I think, and I do think in places like New York, where crime is going down, there is a sense that there's not as much security on the streets, in part because you have people with mental illness that are out on the streets, and places like Houston controlling it very well. And New York Times wrote a great article about some of their solutions, but it requires investment. I'm curious, in your state, in Minneapolis and St. Paul and some of the cities, how are you guys doing with crime? How are you doing with a homelessness problem? How is that impacting the cities and the quality of life there?
Yeah, and you're right, Joe. And this is where I think Democrats, we do talk about this. We need to. People deserve to be safe in their person. And we also know that folks fall on tough times. But by the grace of God goes each of us to try and find shelter. And when you're in a northern state, it's a life or death situation. We're talking about it. Crime is going down. We saw the spike both here in the United States, here in Minnesota, and across the country or across the globe during the pandemic. Those numbers are coming down. But we in Minnesota have a very low tolerance for crime. So it's not good enough to say they're coming down, it's getting much safer. We kind of want to see it get to as low as it can possibly get. The irony of this is, and we see this time and time again, and you could add immigration to this. That is an issue that needs to be addressed. The issue here is Republicans will do nothing to fix it. We have House Republicans that had a proposal from the president, won't fix it. So here in Minnesota, I put a $300 million proposal of fungible dollars for public safety out in our budget, and we see Republicans vote against that. So it's the idea that
that's crazy.
I don't think they really want to fix it. I think we do something about crime, it moves on to something else. And this homelessness issue is a big deal. We put over $1 billion in a state that has about a $27 billion budget. This has to be addressed. Home affordability. And the interesting thing, both crime and homelessness, Joe, it hits in the rural areas just as hard. And in many cases, it's even more difficult of a challenge because you don't have the resources to deal with it. So I think of trying to divide this, trying to say our cities, you can't live in them. We have to address mental health. We have to address gun violence, where the Republicans won't acknowledge. Look, I'm a hunter, a 24-year veteran of the military. I own firearms, but it's absolutely outrageous that we continue to see these shootings. So I agree. These are things that are on people's minds. They're improving, but we need Republicans to come back and help us on some of this.
Yeah, it's just like whether we're talking about in Minnesota, whether we're talking about in Congress, when solutions are offered, whether it's what you're trying to do on homelessness and crime, public safety, or what the president's trying to do on the southern border, they would rather have an issue than a solution. It's a sad state of affairs. Well, Minnesota's Democratic Governor Tim Walz, thank you so much for being here. I hope you'll come back soon.
Anytime, Joe. Thank you.